Okay, we're live. Thank you so much for joining me again. Today is the 17th day of the 49 days, which is 7 weeks of going over the Confidence Coming Out course. And we are talking about what are we talking about today? So, every day seems like a blur. So, we're talking about the Confidence Coming Out course. But today we're going to talk about how our secrets reveal something about ourselves. And how do we get at that? How do we get at what's underneath all of the feeling, all of the drama, all of the automatic reactions that we have, the looping, maybe the trauma bonding that we have with others, and get at what the core need is. And we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to tell you a story. I've never forgotten the day when someone I loved told me a secret most people would have just judged them for. It was raw, vulnerable, and taboo. And yet, hearing them say it out loud cracked something open in me because suddenly I saw a version of life I didn't know existed until they revealed it. Their secret became my permission. What we dare to share, even the parts we think are too much, can reshape someone else's sense of what's possible. But here's the twist. Most of our secrets aren't the ones we know we're hiding. They're buried deeper in our subconscious, in the automatic ways we protect ourselves when we feel unsafe or unseen. Those hidden reactions, the that's just how I am patterns, are unspoken stories your nervous system still believes. And when you bring them to light, not by confessing to the world, but by emotionally regulating and revealing them to first yourself, that's when real confidence begins. Because needs are only understood when we are emotionally regulated. I'm going to say that again. Needs are only really fully understood when we are emotionally regulated. And regulation starts when we stop hiding from what's alive in us. Today, we'll translate those hidden body based secrets into connection and compassion so your truth can transform you and ripple out into this world, which is really what we need more truth. So, welcome back again, everybody. We're going to start with just taking a breath because I think a lot of us need that. So, find a comfortable spot. Notice how your shoulders are, how your neck feels. And if you're grounded into your seat, and just either close your eyes or relax your eyes. And we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Today is about listening beneath your reactions to the secrets your body's been keeping. And just listen to my voice. And if you want to, recite it in your mind. May I have the courage to hear what I've been hiding and the grace to reveal it with compassion to myself. Take another deep breath in through the nose and exhale slowly through the mouth. So slowly open your eyes if they're closed. So we're going to understand a little bit of this through science. Neuroscientists have found your body begins preparing a response half a second or more before your consciously decide what to say. I think it's way more than that, to be honest with you, but you're often reacting to a prediction of safety or threat, not the moment itself. And I say prediction because that's exactly what it is. If you grew up where authenticity was risky, your body learned to hide. And I think when I say authenticity, a lot of us don't even know what that means. So let's just go with me for a little while. To manage, we're hiding through managing our tone, suppressing emotion, performing peace. And so when you get triggered now, you're not reacting to them, that person outside or organization outside of you. You're reacting to an old story that says something isn't safe. Usually it's some form of connection with them or what have you, unless I control myself. And how do we do that? Control, though, isn't confidence. And as we've seen in this world, I just keep on going to the political climate, which, or even your relationship climate, your intimate climate, your neighborhood climate, your work climate. I'm guessing they're pretty closely aligned, sadly. And if they're not, good for you. But confidence is not control. And confidence is staying connected while being seen. And I'm guessing a lot of us aren't being seen, right? And how do we stay regulated in an environment that doesn't allow us to be seen? That means regulating your nervous system enough to stay present with what's true for you. And true is something that only gets revealed when we are regulated. So they go hand in hand. Here's something most people miss. When we're unregulated, our body isn't asking for connection, it's asking for control. It sounds horrible, but it's true. In that state, we unconsciously outsource our regulation to anything outside of us. We try to make them, the other, them, behave in ways that calm us, that make us feel safe. And here's some phrases that might occur or not in so many ways. You need to listen to me. Stop talking to me that way. Why don't you care about me? It's a lot of yous out there. Those are protective demands, not core needs. They're really your nervous system saying, I feel unsafe. I need help coming back to center. And when we regulate first, pause, breathe, turn attention inward, a different layer appears. And that's why the Confidence Coming Out course is so crucial, because it is actually a daily, consistent practice for you. Because, yes, when you're confronted with something very scary outside, it is normal to feel your body escalate and want to do things that aren't going to actually help you. So, this is a great practice for this time. Beneath control is true needs, like I said. Needs like to be understood, to belong without performing, to feel choice and mutuality, to be safe, being seen. That's a shift from reaction to connection, though. When your body is calm, your real needs can speak. When it's not, protection speaks for you. So today, we listen for what's underneath the reaction, because every trigger is a need in disguise. When you're regulated, you can say, I can regulate me, and I can invite you into connection. That's how we co-create safety instead of outsource it. And the phrase of giving out your power is really that. So I'm going to do another grounding practice, because I think a lot of us need grounding, especially now with all of the news, all the things stirring up fire and stress. So again, sit back, close your eyes if you can, or look down or release your eyelids. And just notice where your body feels tight or guarded And breathe there. Bring inner breath through the nose into that space. And allow yourself to either say out loud or to hear it internally. You are allowed to be here. And I'm going to listen to whatever comes up for you. You're talking to yourself now. Take another deep breath in. And let it go. Let all that stress from that area out into your breath, outside of you. Another deep breath in and create space for hope and for listening. And let it all go again. This is how we start to reveal our subconscious secrets. It sounds so simple, but taking a pause and silence and actually believing, trusting, and valuing what comes up instead of stuffing. It's vulnerable and kind of scary sometimes because a lot of it might sound so simple. But once we do that for ourselves, we can finally be able to be compassionate with what comes up eventually and be able to hear what's actually needed, what needs to be said and done. And if we do that for ourselves, we can hold space for even the most scariest of situations and people and others in our lives. Okay. So when you don't have words for your needs, your body uses emotion as its language. Once you have needs words, communication becomes conscious. So we're going to go over the 6 basic needs. And this is from Tony Robinson. I'm just going to share my screen somehow. Where'd the share thing go on here? Oh, here it is. Okay. So here is the needs. And from Tony Robinson, there's growth. We might need the desire to grow or expand in any area of life. Contribution, the desire to give or serve. Significance, the desire to feel recognized, important, and or meaningful. Uncertainty, the desire for change, novelty, and exploration. Love and connection, the desire to feel and express love and or closeness. Certainty, the desire to feel safe and secure. So these are the most basic human needs. We all have them. However, there's going to be an area in your life that is maybe more pronounced. And your personality needs are the core, the place where we find our core needs. And the tertiary needs, which is here, are the ways in which we go about fulfilling those needs. So, how we provide the environment. Your personality needs, again, your preferred pathway. Maybe you are mainly wanting to teach, create, help, organize, perform. These are flavors of how you meet the basics. But my practice in the care package, which is the third step of the Confidence Coming Out course, shows you how to get to your core needs, fulfill them, and in fulfilling your core needs, your personality needs, you also feel strong and stable, and you have built up a foundation where you can hold not only compassion for yourself, but also for those in front of you that seem before very scary. You can having that structure and foundation underneath you because you know how to fulfill these not only allows you to communicate clearer and more calmly and with more awareness of where in the fourth step is your containerize, where your limits and boundaries are, but also how to move yourself into that space. Because without fulfilling and knowing what these are, it's very difficult to go into clearly delineating what you're going to do to support yourself in situations that are dangerous, really. But you might not even know they're dangerous. This is the problem. I say this can be really the problem because sometimes we think one thing is dangerous when in reality it might actually be something completely different. And that sounds false, but it can be true. A lot of the time we get into relationships we are excited about and we think are going to be wonderful for us, but really that feeling that we have might actually be a sign of danger for us, but we don't have the tools to see it and navigate it and communicate it and set limits around it. And if we did, maybe it would actually go well, or we might walk away because we know that's not going to be right for us right now. So, and this goes for I'm talking small things, well, closer to us, right? More personal things, not very large outside world scale or political issues. But it comes down to that in the end. It will, if each of us has that capacity to understand how to fulfill our own needs, communicate them, set limits around them, follow through with them, then a lot of the things that we're seeing right now would start to dissipate because they wouldn't be able to flourish. So this is great work. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go over tertiary needs. Like tertiary needs are how we may fulfill some of our core needs. Getting at our core needs is part of the confidence coming out course. So if you want to be a part of that, please sign up going to raylifecoaching.com. Click on the pop-up screen that comes up. You'll be on the wait list. As soon as it's completely available, you will be shown how to participate in it, and it will show you how to find your core needs and how to go through the process of learning how to fulfill them and get on a more stable ground. So tertiary needs are to provide that environment. Like I need a walk to clear my head. But that actually provides me autonomy or rest or calm, whatever. Some things mattering upon the person might sound like the same tertiary need, but it's actually fulfilling for them their core need. I need to journal before we talk, but that creates clarity for me or, connection or whatever with self. I need a hug. I need to, for myself first, I need to like wrap myself in blankets and comfy clothing and, just cuddle in bed by myself. Like these are ways of doing it for yourself first. When you know which layer you're speaking from, whether it be, you know, knowing which basic personality and tertiary, you stop arguing about strategy and start connecting through shared humanity. So, this is also about communication. Once you know how to fulfill, then you can, especially with personal relationships, you can start communicating. This is what's best for me. This is what I prefer. This is like what I need to see in order just even to be in this relationship. That's some of the layers that will come when you do this work for yourself first. So, one of the videos that I did, I think it was the second, third, and fourth, we went over a relationship assessment and like checklist and questionnaire. And in order to get at some of the clarity around that checklist, then you would need to do step one, step two, and step three. And that's kind of why I set that up in the first few videos so that you could see that you might not have the answers right now or think you do, but if you have any question about a relationship as to whether or not it's really satisfying that the the connection that you thought it was going to be, you're feeling a little a rift inside about something or not knowing how to communicate it. You might not even know that you could communicate something. This is where the work is because it's consciousness, right? Bringing subconscious to conscious awareness is number one. Number two was communication. How do I communicate different with myself? Of course, that goes across the board. And then care package. What are my needs? How do I fulfill them? How do I speak to them? And then number four will be in the fuller confidence coming out course, where I learn how to not only communicate them, but set boundaries, limits. What is my domain? What's yours? And really containerize certain parts of my life. And that relationship assessment really helps you kind of question, what do I actually need in this relationship? So we're going to do an exercise. It's an inner to outer needs practice. And let's experience this shift in real time. You can do this journaling silently or aloud. I want you to there's 5 steps, okay? I want you to pause and think of a recent moment when you felt reactive or misunderstood. And name the protective need. What did you want the other person to do or stop doing? So you can write this down or just close your eyes, kind of imagine it. I'm trying to bring to mind my own example. Uh, so felt reactive. So I I'm trying to think of something not too personal. um, yeah, so I felt reactive or misunderstood. Oh, when I wanted to talk to a friend about something that was hard. And I think I do it. I feel like I do it too often, and I feel like they don't know how to communicate their boundaries or limits with me. And I notice some reaction from them, and that makes me feel reactive and protective. And what I wanted to maybe do was just sometimes I just shut down like I won't say anything. So, number three is breathe. Just feel your body and ask, what am I really needing underneath? And if you can, before doing that, if you can't get at the need, just really notice what the bias key. What am I feeling? Feeling, yeah, protective. That's it. I'm feeling guarded. I'm feeling disappointed that they're not going to be there. Um, I'm also feeling disappointed that they're not able to communicate their limits. And so I'm noticing mistrust and yeah, not being heard is probably a big part. Just that's a need. So I'm wanting to be heard, wanting to be trusted. So these are needs, right? So let's go to the needs part and kind of look at, I wanted to share. Um, they're, of course, not in order, which I think I have to change. Not in order by anything. Um, yeah, I wanted uncertainty. I think contribution and certainty tends to be my go-tos. So when you look at these words, things might pop up. Just read them out loud because it takes a little time to figure out what feels good to you in that moment. What is it that you might have wanted? Um, Education, comfort, competition, self-expression, sharing, emotional connection. those two are probably out of my thing. Maybe even some discovery, like feeling like I can discover you through you being open with me. Um, Intimacy as well, maybe attention. Okay. And then tertiary needs. So I had said contribution, but it's interesting what you think the word means versus what it actually means. Um, Trust, so certainty. So that tells you like you might find the word that comes up in one of these lists and go, okay, that makes sense. So we're going to translate it. That's number 4 out of this. Turn that protective need into a core need using the needs word screen. So that's kind of the core need. So that's would be like trust. And I think it's probably sharing. Um, it's kind of, mutuality. There's something that comes up for me, which is like emotional connection. Um, I'm just looking at all of them. Freedom tends to come up as well. And it sometimes they don't seem like my cat is meowing. Sometimes they don't seem like they relate, but it's really about what you just go to. Like it doesn't, like I said, allow yourself to just go to what feels right instead of your brain saying, no, that doesn't make sense. Those two don't work together. That's not exactly how this works. Subconscious isn't exactly logical. And if you fulfill these needs, they will help you. So then if I were regulated, I'd say, then complete the sentence. And of course, first you have to regulate yourself. But what I do know in this situation is when I'm regulated in that situation, I say what I need. Consistency is a big one. And and that provides me with certainty that I can rely on them. Um, and I can rely on them being honest with me. However, they might not know. Like, I totally get that why they're doing that, whatever they're doing, you know, however they're reacting, that isn't exactly clear, is a way of not only protecting themselves, but also they think they're um, being kind to me, but it's in a way that is indirect and unclear to me. So I might say, hey, what I really need is to know when, maybe I need to be asking you if this is something that you can listen to and for how long, you know, and and I may need to be more clear. Here I am talking about what their needs are, but I'm also wanting that in return. So if for some reason I don't do that, I would greatly appreciate for you to be really direct with me as to what emotional energy you have for this topic. And just maybe we need like a little sign, you know, of, hey, I'm tapped out today, right? I'm tapped out on this topic. Or some word that say, hey, Ray, triangle, whatever it is. But it's being able to communicate like it is okay that you're not available for this topic. What hurts me most actually is when I don't know that. And when it your communication makes it sound like um it's it's not okay for me to have this feeling or whatever's happening with me when maybe it's just right now you're sad in that emotion of hearing me be upset or whatever the topic is really not within your capacity right now. And that, how about that? I'd rather you own what's going on with you, and then I can choose to not talk about it. We can talk about something else. Of course, yes, it may hurt me. Um, so if I were regulated, I would say, oh, so and so, thank you so much for caring so much about me that it sounds like that really hurts you. I'm wondering if you would be up for um, telling me what you're available for. So if I do start in a conversation that is really affecting you, maybe we can, one, I would like to be more, forthright and ask you. But if that doesn't happen and we accidentally roll into a conversation that feels too emotionally taxing for you, then I would like for you to just say, hey, I'm not actually up for that conversation right now. Or I'm only up for about 5 minutes. Or that, God, that's really, really hard to hear. And I really would love to be there for you, but I'm not. Is there any way that we could talk about something else? You know, um, that would be really helpful for me. It would make me feel um, more emotionally connected, and also trust that I understand you. I want to understand what's going on with you instead of feel shame, which is what's happening with me when you say what you say. And I would love certainty to know what is really needed for you so that I can go elsewhere, right? I don't want to be talking to someone who doesn't have the bandwidth for this. So this requires, right? Because some of it can like heighten. So I would say doing this work and writing it down and practicing, that is the point. And I am so looking for practice partners right now, because and I think it's so important to practice this work because there are times where we just have difficulty with our words. And even if we're talking to ourselves, we're talking to somebody who's not even a part of a situation that usually triggers us, we still get into that heightened emotion. And that is okay. The heightened emotion isn't the problem. Our ability to know how to deal with it and know even how to practice it is important. And that's what I'm here for today. So, what do you notice? Where did your body soften when you named the real need? And that awareness is emotional regulation in action. So, I think even just naming it is almost relieving. You have some tools to then work into how do I communicate this? And if you're going to practice it at all, try practicing it with yourself. And that sounds kind of hokey and weird. Either practicing it with yourself in journal or practice it in yourself when you notice that you're getting triggered from your own actions, your own behavior, whatever that is, how you're judging yourself, how you're speaking to yourself, and see if you can separate that voice as if it's another person and do this exercise with yourself. So let's bring this into spoken language using nonviolent communication. Before you speak, ask, am I connected to myself or protecting myself? So that might be a good question to ask yourself when you start kind of getting triggered. Am I connected to myself or protecting myself right now? Like defense, or maybe walking away, silencing, appeasing, smiling, whatever the go-to action is. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn reaction, usually. So share a real moment of tension using the 4 steps. So if I was to describe my, scenario that was triggering or hard to deal with, you would start with observation. So we're going to go to NVC, and NVC is nonviolent communication from Marshall Rosenberg. And the first step is four components, and you have observation of the moment. So it could be, okay, my friend says, and I'll just say exactly what they say. That would be observation, not what I interpret them saying. Okay, like do my best to paraphrase exactly what they said. So they probably said something like, I get hurt. I'm really hurt. I'm really sad. Um, you know, I hate that you're having um, this feeling, this situation happen. When are you going to? My question is when are you going to be okay? When are you going to be done with this? And my feeling that arises when they say that is shame. Um, that I'm the core, the wound that comes up is that I'm bad, that I'm stupid, that I'm going to be alone if I keep this up. This person's no longer going to be my friend. That's like the worst case scenario. Um, the need that comes up is I want clarity. I want ownership and accountability. Yeah. What really gets at me is that it's now my fault that I have this feeling. And that's exactly why I'm sharing it, is to have co-regulation and emotional connection. But I'm realizing they're not available for that. And that, if anything, I'm by what's being said, my feelings go, oh, I'm shameful. I shouldn't be this way. Um, and so my need is understanding, compassion, but it's also accountability. Like it's double layered. Like initially, I'm wanting emotional connection and compassion. But then when they say that, I'm like, ooh, hang on. Now I'm feeling bad for having these feelings on top of having these feelings. So it's layered. So now I'm wanting to know where my boundary is. Is it mine or is it yours? And I'm therefore feeling shame around that and wanting accountability as to what part of it is mine and what part of it is yours. So my request could be, hey, I'm going to have to work on this myself, but hey, I'm looking for I'm realizing I was saying this and I'm really I was looking for emotional connection and compassion. I'm realizing though from what you said that maybe your bandwidth and your availability for this topic is not present. Is that true? And so me just saying that is me asking for accountability, because I'm not saying, oh, I shouldn't do this, or you blamed me for that, or, I'm more saying, hey, is that true? Is that something that you think is happening for you? And that might be helpful, especially if I'm regulated. So if you're solo, speak both parts out loud, just like I did, or write them in your journal. Notice how tone, clarity shift when regulated leads the way. And you can notice how heightened, like I'm feeling a little sensitive here, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of work there. So this will bring stuff up. You can have the emotion. If it brings it up, have the emotion. And maybe while you're doing this, you might know what's going to comfort you in that space to have the emotion, meaning give yourself that time and say, I'm going to take 5 minutes, like set boundaries for yourself around it. I'm going to have 5 minutes to literally have this emotion. in a space where no one hears me, really give yourself that space. So we're going to take a deep breath. And then we're going to take another deep breath through the nose. Let the belly bloat up and exhale through the mouth, longer than your inhalation. And do one more time. Belly bloat up. Exhale. And today you practice revealing what's been hidden. Oh my gosh. Thank you for joining me in your body and in your words. Your power isn't in control. I know we want to control all of this, don't we? We want to control ourselves too. We do our best, but and when you see your unspoken stories and share from regulation, you transform the field around you. A regulated body is contagious. So, coming up next, October 18th, tomorrow, we are decoding your fulfillment with core needs. Kind of what we did a little bit, but even more. Understand how core needs define satisfaction and alignment in daily life. And October 19th, what's that? I don't even know what day that is. October 19th, Sunday, your conscious response module, turning insight into a practice. We're going to apply awareness tools in real time so insight becomes action. And October 20th, Monday, we're going to restore it. We're going to help you restore conflict and voicing needs into words. You're going to start, you can always start with yourself first. So transform tension into repair by communicating needs clearly and compassionately. We kind of already did that a little bit today. October 21st, live Zoom call again, and we're going to practice restore conflict. So a live group session to practice speaking, listening, and repairing in real time. So if you do come and there's enough people, either you can practice with me if you feel up for that, or we can practice with each other. Okay, so every secret, even the ones you've been hiding from yourself, holds the power to transform not just you, but the world around you. When you reveal them with love, you become the permission someone else didn't know they needed. I'll see you on day 18, but live streaming, Saturday, day 18, where we decode your fulfillment through core needs. Thank you so much. Let me unshare. I was on. Thank you so much for joining me today. And again, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.